You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney.
Well, here we go, another rockin' awesome Saturday night up here in Boston. And we're so glad that you guys could come in tonight and be with us on our network where we expose the Jehovah's Witnesses. And man, I have to tell you, the biggest story going on this week in the world of the witnesses, they're going back door to door. Yes, you heard me right. Door-to-door ministry starts up on September 1st. Oh, there's so many witnesses that are just having panic attacks over this. We're going to discuss it in full tonight. Stay with us. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome in. Welcome in to the Six Screens Telenetwork. My name's Rick Barron, and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And man, I am just rocking so much back and forth here. I'm having a hard time sitting still. And the reason is we have got unusual amounts of people coming into the Six Screens Telenetwork here in the last couple of weeks. And it's just totally amazing. There's got to be millions, at least hundreds of thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses leaving the organization. There's got to be. I just can't conceive that the mass exodus is not taking place. I'm saying it's taking place right now. We've got so many Jehovah's Witnesses that are packing their bags. And wait till you hear some of the stories that we'll be talking about here tonight. It's just totally mind-boggling what's going on in that organization. They've got to, the Watchtower officials, they have got to be concerned about this. I mean, they are hemorrhaging. So we'll be talking a lot about that tonight. But thank you. Thank you for coming in. And I want to thank all those people on the video suite. I want to thank those people on YouTube, Facebook, and of course on our radio network. And we're also on Twitch. We're on Twitch. Yeah, Twitch. Well, that's a lot of young people in there. Yeah, that's Twitch Network. And they have a lot of people, a lot of young guys and women in there that play video games. But they also have a space where you can post programs. So we're in Twitch tonight. We're in a number of Facebook groups like No Nonsense Jehovah's Witnesses, 6,000 members in there alone. We are also in the United Kingdom Facebook group, and a number of other groups, and we're glad. We're glad to be able to be reaching out tonight because it must be making a difference. Well, you guys are happy tonight. I think you are. I really do. Aren't you glad? You know, most of you guys listening in here tonight, the reason why you listen to the Six Screens, and it's kind of a fascination, isn't it? I get fascinated myself. I've been doing it for 16 years. Never missed a Saturday night. I look forward to Saturday night. It's my favorite night of the week. But the reason why I look forward to it is I know for an absolute fact that this program, is helping so many Jehovah's Witnesses to get out of that cult. So you guys just stay with us. If you're new listening in, and you can muster up the courage, as we say. I have a voice changer here. I could put you on the voice changer. I can make you sound like a baby. If you're a man, I can make you sound like a woman. If you're a woman, I can make you sound like a man. But just to give you a little idea, let me go up here and see if you can't. Okay, let's try this. Okay, I'm just picking. I've got a number of different voices here, but let's play this one. Let's see how it sounds. Hello, my name is Rick Barron. See, you can change your voice. So I mean, so if you're well, let me shut this off. All right. So that's our voice changer. It's quite a platform. And if you want to come in, because you don't want anyone, many witnesses don't want anyone to recognize their voice, but we'll make sure you won't be recognized. So if you want to come in incognito, if you want to come in on the voice changer, let me know. We'll bring you in. Well, I came across some interesting things this week. Boy, I'm telling you, the more I look into the Watchtower, the crazier it is getting. The United States branch office of Jehovah's Witnesses has calculated that Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States for the year 2022, the remainder of the year, and all through 2023, they're recommending a certain amount of money that each Jehovah's Witness publisher should give to the organization. Now, they set that donation amount at $8.25 per publisher per month. So here we have it, but that's per publisher. So if you and your wife are going to the Kingdom Hall and you both publishers, well, they're going to want $16.50 from you. That's what they would like to have. And so, I'm only thinking that, that doesn't sound like too much. But if you got 4 in the family, that's going to cost you close to, well, $34. It's expensive. I mean, who's got the money right now? Things aren't that great right now in the Watchtower, right? So at the same time, they're looking at ways to be able to grab more and more money from you. Now, I'm going to just stop and think about it. You guys, Netflix. Let's go with Netflix. I see one post online that was saying it's going to cost you about as much as Netflix. Well, Netflix right now is $12 a month. So it's getting close, but if you have more in your family, that's where it's going to hurt. So that's what I'm thinking. The more people you have in the family, the more you're going to be paying. So, the thing is that the Watchtower, they're saying it's a suggested donation, a suggested donation. Let me see if I can't share the screen. I want you guys to see it. I'm going to read you the letter. Let's see if I can't get that letter up here right now. Okay, let me see. I'm working on it right now. Well, let's see. Okay, this one right here. So let me see if I can't get this up, and I can share it with you so I can read it to you. So you have to do that on SoundCloud and Facebook. And if you're listening on the radio, I'll be glad to lead. Here it is right here. So let's put that letter up so you can see it. All right. So let me read it to you. All right. Let's read it. Announcements and reminders for August. For August 2022. It's quite a long letter. I know I read you these announcements and reminders every week, but on this part of the letter, section 5, it talks about the resolved monthly donation to the Watchtower work. And it says the resolved monthly donation referred to in the announcement for congregations is based on a monthly per publisher amount suggested by the branch office. Now, this is just for the branch office in the United States. Other branch offices around the world and dealing with individual countries, they're either going to charge a little more or a little less. But some, from what I understand, some places, I guess really exclusive places, it's up there. It's over $20 a month. But anyways, they have this donation worldwide work that you should be making. The per publisher amount listed on jw.org webpage is containing the link to this announcement, and it's multiplied by the number of active publishers in the congregation to determine the suggested. Now, notice how they use the word suggested, but they don't really suggest. The Watchtower, when they make a suggestion in cult language, it's orders. They're commanding you, get it done. Get us the $8.25 per publisher. So there it goes. And it says it should be noted that some congregations will not be able to donate the suggested amount, while others will be able to donate more. Therefore, the body of elders should consider whether the congregation is in position to donate the suggested amount or more. So if you're a wealthy congregation, you got a lot of rich Jehovah's Witnesses, $8.25. Oh, to a wealthy congregation, that's pocket change. So, they're probably going to say we can send them $35 a month per publisher. So, this is just a suggestion, but like I say, they're going to get a minimum of everybody, at least in the United States, they're going to get a minimum of at least $8.25. Now, I just want to run some numbers by you here. I can stop sharing this now, I guess. So we'll do that. So I just wanted to say that I ran some numbers. I tried to see what is the Watchtower taking in here. They've got publishers worldwide, but let's just do this. Let's just talk about the United States. Well, let's not even think about other countries. Get that out of your mind. So let's just do this. In the United States, they would take in $123 million, not counting 24 additional territories. So just in the United States, if every publisher gave $8.25, they would take in $123 million. So there you have it. They're going to have to pass a resolution. You know how phony that is, right? You guys remember that?
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, Pixie. But you remember they used to get up on the stage and they'd say, okay, we're going to pass a resolution. How many are in favor of each publisher in this congregation sending $8.25 a month to the Watchtower, to Mother? And of course, all those in favor, raise your hand. And everybody raises their hand. And then it says,
better than the $5 they were asking.
Yeah. So then they'll say, all right, all those who oppose, raise your hand. And of course, who wants to be intimidated? So you don't raise your hand, but you're thinking all the time, I wish I had the guts to say no. Because if they just get one person, did you know this? If they just get one person that objects, they could scrap the whole plan. It kind of reminds me like how I've been doing things in Congress lately. If they don't get the right amount, they're dead in the water. So when the organization is asking for donation, now that's just $123 million in the United States. I mean, we're talking millions and millions of dollars because of this. So why are they asking for donations when this is? Let's say Pixie. I'm going to just have you cool it for now, okay? Because I'm trying to do the news. I want to get through the news. When I open the lines, you can come in and speak. I'd love to hear from you. But right now, I got to do the news. People are waiting for the news. So why? Go ahead.
Family, and they're needing meat.
I'm sorry?
I was just thinking of a family of 4 in this economy, and they're needing meat.
Well, yeah. Well, there's no money for. In fact, I was reading an article today online that 1 in 4 Americans is standing in a food line. People can't afford. They're living in sheds. This article I was reading, people are living in sheds. They can't afford to even have a place to live. They're living in their cars. Meat, Pixie, you're right, is very expensive. Everything. Gas is coming down, which is okay, but it's still higher than it used to be. But the thing is, people don't have the money, but here they are asking. This is going to really rock the boat of a Jehovah's Witness. Now, when you stop and think about it, the society has been bringing in plenty of money, billions of dollars, selling all their real estate off and having people leaving them money when they die and property when they die. So there's all these other ways that the Watchtower has ways to collect money. They do it through wills, through estates, independent cash, stock, donations, investment income, and everything else. But they want the publishers. And look at when we were all witnesses, we all put money in the box. I believe every one of us did. Some of us put good amounts in, some not so good, but you all felt kind of obligated. The lights have to be paid. The hall has to be mowed and taken care of, the outside as well as the inside. So it took money to run it. So you didn't mind throwing some money in the till. But now here is the Watchtower. They're asking you They are asking you for $8.25 a month per publisher. Now, here's what I thought, and I'm just thinking out loud, and maybe you guys are thinking this too. And I went on jw.org this week, and I wanted to see anywhere on their site about how Jehovah's Witnesses generate income or how they collect money. So I'm reading this right from jw.org. Jehovah's Witnesses are not expected to tithe or to donate any specific amount or percentage of their income. Well, hold on, Watchtower. Hold on one second. Didn't you just send I just read the letter, the branch letter to the United States branch and to all congregations in the U.S. territory. Didn't you say that you want $8.25, but you're saying here on your website that you don't ask for any specific amount of money or any portion of their income? We never take collections. I'm reading this verbatim right from the Watchtower website. We never take collections or charge admission at our meetings, nor do our ministers charge fees for baptisms, funerals, weddings, or other religious services. We do not raise money through bake sales, bazaars, bingo games, carnivals, dinners, raffles, or similar events, nor do we solicit donations. Hey, listen, are these guys lying? Now, here's a second lie I caught them on. First of all, they said they're not asking for certain amounts, but you know they are now. And they say they're not soliciting for donations. They are now. And then it says donors' information is never shared or made available to the public. Our website and publications do not contain revenue-generating advertisements. Well, you don't. Why would you have to advertise? You're making enough money anyway. So and that's right off of their website. So that's what I'm saying. It's two bald-faced lies that we just caught them in. So I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Jehovah's Witnesses are paying attention to the organization or not. But boy, I wish the witnesses could at least get a heads up here and see that what they're saying is not truthful. So what do you think? You want to make a comment? Go ahead. Hit *6 and say hello to me if you like. Well, what do you think? What do you think about this?
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hi, Rick. You know, it's funny when, Watchtower is definitely the king of euphemistic language. I love the way they use the word suggestion or suggested and encourage. All witnesses know via their programming that anything that is encouraged or suggested by the faithful slave is a directive from Jehovah. And if they don't go according to the suggestion or the encouragement of behavior, they are not showing appreciation for Jehovah. These people know what they're doing. And even if people start waking up, they can still count on the ones that prefer to keep their head in the sand and making excuses to themselves. Well, this is Jehovah's directive. We might not understand, but we have to be faithful. Thank you so much, Rick. You bring out such good stuff.
Well, there you go. That's what they do. They have different words for everything. When Watchtower says, yes, go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, just a quick thought. They used to use the term for a donation of $3.35. Well, it's not a donation. They want to charge for a book $3.50. So it really isn't a donation. They play around with the vernacular so often. And if a elder brought to a circuit overseer came to the Kingdom Hall, and he put up a big stink about all this stuff with the money, and he said, tell me, where does this all these billions of dollars you made on all the property you sold in Brooklyn, where did all that money go? I mean, we all know it's that big dark hole called worldwide witnessing work. But if an elder was to ask and say, listen, I'm really troubled by your asking for money all the time, that elder more than likely would be deleted. Thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you, Dick. No, you're right. He would be deleted. Well, so we know they're taking money in Now, in America, they don't have to tell how much. They're not listed as a, well, in United Kingdom, they are listed as a charity. Now, here in the United States, they are too, but they get no money from the government for that. They get tax breaks. But in the UK and other portions of the world, Jehovah's Witnesses get money for each publisher that they have. Now, the United Kingdom releases every year how much money that the charity, the Watchtower charity, brought in for income. Well, I got those figures now, so I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to read them to you. You'll hear it on a radio network. And if you're on YouTube, you're going to see it. So let me see what we got here. We got some people leaving their phones on again. And like I say, if you guys could just shut your phones off, it would be so good. Hit *6. All right, hit *6. All right, so let's let's take a look at this charity, Watchtower and Bible Tract Society of Britain. This is just Britain, by the way. I'm saying UK, but it's Britain. And the amount of money they receive from donations, they have to report it, in Britain at least. So let's take a look, and we're going to take a look and see what's going on. So for 2021, their expenses actually went down from 2020. So they didn't have to spend as much money. I didn't have to spend as much money, but I'm going to tell you why. But let's first of all, let me read you the figures. Now, right on this website, Charity Commission, I think you guys can see it. Let me see if I can't make you see it. I'm going to try to make you see it. I don't know why, but let me see let me select it right here. And then you're going to be able to see it. All right, so there you have it. Now, if you're on YouTube, I believe you guys can see this. Let me just point this out to you. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here and see what's happening with this. This is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Britain. The very first thing you see is a red triangle with an exclamation mark in it, and it's saying regulatory alert. Regulatory alert. Now, that got my attention when I was looking into this week. That they have a red flag on their charity site in Britain. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But let me just read you some figures so you'll get an idea what's going on. So the total income that the Watchtower took in Britain for the year 2021 so far, see, they have a fiscal year. It runs from September to August. So the total amount of money they brought in for 2021 in Britain was 130,210,285 euros, 130 million plus. Well, in American dollars, it comes out to be over $132 million that the Watchtower took in Britain alone. That's what the government gave them because they get paid for, well, I'm sorry, that's not what the government gave them. That's what the witnesses donated to them. That's the money that they got. Plus, they also get money from the government. So maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe they are counting that government money too. But it says income and expenses. So I guess it would be income. Yeah, it would be income from the government as well as other. No matter how they got the income, they're reporting $130 million they took in. Now, they spent out 61 million. They spent out 61 million. That's down from last year. And the reason why it's probably down is because the electricity and the gas has been shut off. Basically, it turned down low in the Kingdom halls. So they didn't have to they got more money from people having extra money in the Kingdom halls and sending it to them, evidently. So I think that's where they made out better. But this year, now that they're going back to meetings, they're going to be paying out more. So their expenses, actually, it was not even half of the amount of money they took in. So, they're making money. They're making big money all over the world. I mean, $130 million is not chump change. That's a sizable amount of money. So I thought you'd enjoy that. But then there's another section here on this website. And what it says here is employees of the Watchtower with total benefits over $60,000 a year, or euros a year. So there is no official in Watchtower in Britain, according to this report, that's making over 60,000 euros a year. But they can cook the books. They get another perks, right? They get another perks. But let's go back. I want to go back to this red flag, or this red triangle. That this really got my attention because there's an alert, a regulatory alert. And what it's saying here, I went and looked deeper into this. So it says the Charity Commission in Britain has opened statutory inquiries into Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Britain. So they have inquiries into the whole organization, as well as a particular congregation in Manchester, Britain. So there's an investigation. I'm reading it right from their website, from this Charity Commission website. The investigation into Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is because they keep using the words that they were not handling safeguarding matters. Now, I know what it is, but it doesn't say it here, because I knew and reported on this earlier this year that the Charity Commission is looking into their handling of child abuse and covering it up, sexual child abuse in the Watchtower. So they're not listing it here for the whole public to see, but they should. But it's saying because they were not safeguarding their duty. And in order to get money, even from the government, which they're getting, I don't know how many millions, because that's all of the income that's taken in by Jehovah's Witnesses. But the Charity Commission in England is looking into the witnesses because of they're not safeguarding matters concerning, I'm going to tell you right here, even though the website's not saying, it's because of not reporting child sex abuse. Yeah. So now they're under investigation. They could lose their charity status. So I think that's interesting. So going further down, reading direct verbatim right off of their website, charity status website, the commission's concerns have been amplified by recent criminal cases concerning historic incidents of abuse involving individuals who appear to have been connected to Jehovah's Witnesses. Isn't that a nice thing to see on the Charity Commission's website, that the witnesses have a red warning triangle, a red triangle warning sign right on the front page? And because they're being investigated for criminal cases, that has to do with child abuse. So, I mean, if you were still a witness, it doesn't matter where you live in, whether you're in Britain or whether you're right here in the United States. Do you think you want to give these guys money when you see a red alert on what they're doing? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Isn't that something? Who'd like to speak up here on Six Screens? JW World News. Who'd like to say something? Hit *6. Wait, would you give the Watchtower money? Even now, if you're still a witness and you see all this corruption and the money they're taking in one country, $130 million. And over here, I told you earlier, the money that they want now is $825 per publisher. That's going to come up to $123 million. And these are just two countries, Britain and the United States. Look at the money they're taking in worldwide. This is absolutely crazy. They are a wealthy organization, but yet they are cranking and grinding the Jehovah's Witness rank and file. Keep giving us money, keep sending us money. Boy, oh boy, what a racket. What a racket. Well, I wanted to share that.
Good evening, Mr. Farron.
Yes, Ken, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, we inflation rising in this country right here. Price of gas has gone up, price of food, price of clothing, everything has gone up right now, like you wouldn't believe, and it still keeps going up with no end in sight and so forth. And now the Watchtower Society wants to go back to door-to-door work, and they want these people not only to go door-to-door work, but also give them a mandated $8 some odd cents a month apiece and so forth. And then they want to go back to door work, spending 10,000, I think it's 10,000 hours for trying to get just one person in. All this stuff was a dismal failure in the past. What makes them think it's going to succeed right now? And I believe that probably, I believe probably it's going to take off for a little bit, this collecting the $8 a month, but it's going to come back to haunt them, and the people are going to stop it. But I do hope that they stop, they wake up sooner than they do later and so forth. And I do hope that our calls will be coming in more and more as a result of this total and absolute insanity of the Watchtower Society. But I know one thing for sure, I'm not going over there and to their church and give them $8 a month to attend or do anything. So I'm not going to go there at all, you know. And I hope the rest of the people that's going there will feel the same way and not go there at all too.
Well, we're going to get to that, Ken. I'm glad you brought it up. We're going to be talking about them going back now out in service, and we're going to be letting people know what's going on with that, because a lot of witnesses are really, really ticked off. So we got that story coming up tonight too. So we'll be discussing that very, very shortly. But anyways, yes, Randy.
I just wanted to add a little bit to just kind of reinforce what several have already said about how that's more of a command or their directive. Certain words they'll use, like they'll say, well, we hope this or hope that. Because we had a situation one time where people at another congregation I used to go to was criticizing me because we hadn't passed a resolution they had already passed. It was to buy an apartment house for a circuit overseer, Dennis Kraft, single brother, first time they'd ever went and rented out an apartment. And all the instructions we'd had before, they said, you know, they wanted them to either use a travel trailer or stay in the brothers' homes. Well, I asked our elders about it. Why are we behind and not talking about this? And they said, you know what? That actually came from a local group of elders. It wasn't even directly from the headquarters. And they made it sound like, oh, this is the wave of the future. And so most of Oklahoma had already voted on that. And they didn't want to. These elders in this hall I was at did not want to do it, but they went ahead and put it up for discussion. And guess what? Most of the congregation didn't want to do it either. And they had to table it because it was kind of, I mean, a few wanted to, but most of them didn't. They offered their homes up. That some of them had extra apartments that they could let the brother stay at when he was at our place. And so anyway, they was going to open it up for discussion the next week. And when they come the next week, they didn't open up for discussion. They just stood up and said that this had been passed.
Unbelievable.
I asked the brother about it because he was really against it, and several others. He was not even there. He left. He went traveling someplace so he wouldn't have to be there. And I said, well, why don't you say something? He says, well, I'm not going to slap that bear. When they said we would hope if most of the congregations had already approved it, we would hope it would be unanimous and everybody would do it. That was a commandment. He took it, and that if he went against them, he was going to get into big trouble.
How corrupt!
And it was very, to me, that I never did say anything to anybody else about it after that. But to me, that was highly illegal to spend money without actually passing a resolution just to get up and say it was passed, because it never got voted on.
Randy, these guys are crooks. They are crooks. But yet they wanted you to be so honest. You know, pay your taxes. Make sure you get your car inspected. All of this stuff. Totally, totally honest. And all at the same time, these guys are doing nothing but corruption and fraud. Unbelievable. Thank you, Randy. Yes.
Hey, Rick?
Yes.
Could I say one more thing?
Sure.
Sorry, one more thing.
Sure.
I can't help but picture the general JW of the rank and file just continuing to want to hang on to their delusional fantasy. It makes me think of that frog that gets put in the cold water and it's getting warmer and warmer, and the frog's making excuses. Oh yeah, it's a little warm, but I can adjust. Oh, it's a little warmer. I can adjust. I can accept it. When all time he knows somewhere in the deepest part of his being, he needs to jump out of that pot. But the rank and file is like that frog, making excuses, continuing to make excuses until they're dead, because it's just easier to hang on to that delusional fantasy. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Anne Marie. Yeah, now, if you guys like this type of subject, corruption and fraud and what's going on in the Watchtower, you don't want to miss Jimmy Bell's program tonight. Wow, does he have a blockbuster, The Big Picture, coming up by 9 o'clock. He's going to show you how the Watchtower is actually involved in the coming reset. He's going to talk all about the Watchtower and the coming new world order. And that's why they get away with all of this. They have all of these friends in these high places, and every time there's something that's totally corrupt and criminal in the organization, what happens? The big guys squash it. And that's what's going on. That's why the Watchtower is getting away with so much. At least that's what I think. That's what my opinion is. Well, anyways.
They call it the green handshake, don't they?
Oh, they do, Pixie. It's the green handshake. That's all you do is you have a few extra bucks, and boy, you can buy these guys off very easily. Well, I don't know if anybody got in listening to the convention this week, but geez, I had to tell you, I did, and boy, I'll tell you what, it's so disgusting, really. But first of all, I'm going to say it's not the conventions that you and I went to when we were Jehovah's Witnesses back in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. The conventions have changed, but they still have a theme. So the theme for this convention, the 2022 Regional Convention, Pursue Peace Convention. And so I listened to a portion of it, and I wanted to play some sound clips because, first of all, let me start here. They start off with they really have some pretty decent music as of late. I mean, maybe everybody doesn't like it, but boy, it really catches your emotion. This is what the Watchtower basically has done through videos. They can't do it through literature, but they do it through videos. They capture your emotion by the use of music. And the music just sucks you right in, and it's really kind of nice music, to tell you the truth. And so you're watching it, and it's showing different countries, and it's showing waterfalls and beautiful beaches and mountains, and beautiful music is playing. And it goes on for about 10 minutes of just really nice scenery and music playing. And getting this is before the convention starts, just to get you all emotionally attached. And then, of course, the brother comes on, and okay, well, now it's time for our convention. And let me do this. Let me play the first part. You'll hear it. And I want you to hear a few clips that I have because, again, I catch the Watchtower lying. They lie through their teeth, but I mean, they have an actual policy they call war strategy. You guys know, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but they have a policy where they actually can lie to one another. Well, not one another, but to anybody who is not entitled to know the truth. And that's how a Jehovah's Witness gets away with it. If you're not entitled to know the truth, we're going to lie to you. What? That's a lie. I don't know how you slice it, dice it, chop it up. It's still a lie. Yeah, I mean, they can say whatever they want, but in my book, that's still a lie. So let's go here. Let me play a clip. This is, let me see where we start here. And let me see, in fact, okay, they're trying to promote peace. Now, this is the Pursue Peace Convention. So they're trying to promote peace. So let's see what they say here. Let's open up our, let's share this. And let me slide up to, let's start right about 2950. Let's go up to 2950. All right. All right, let me just slide up here. Sometimes let's start here. This is Stephen Lett talking, and then he introduces another brother. But let's just listen in here for a couple of minutes. And here, this is part of the convention on Friday morning. Listen in.
Yeah. Well, we've now discussed how Jehovah is the God of peace. We've discussed who he gives the peace to to those who draw close to him and earnestly seek peace from him. But now let's examine how each of us can promote peace with others. In the following video, Brother Kenneth Cook of the governing body will explain how this convention program will help us to pursue peace.
On behalf of the governing body, I can say that we really appreciate your attending this Pursue Peace convention. Speaking of peace, we love the serene setting here at our world headquarters on Blue Lake in New York State. At times, the water is as smooth as a mirror. We occasionally see eagles and hawks fly by.
You know, just stop right there. So they got this brother in a $500 suit standing out on the balcony of the world headquarters in Warwick, New York, overlooking a beautiful lake. These guys are living high off the hog. So they're going to be coming on here to tell you how you can pursue peace. Yeah, well, maybe they have peaceful surroundings and plenty of food to eat. They're not struggling. They're doing just fine. But the mass majority of Jehovah's Witnesses are sliding down the tubes with the way the economic picture is in this country and around the world, and especially in Europe. But this is what they're watching. And man, I was getting jealous just as what. It's a beautiful place, I'm telling you. It's a beautiful, the lake is so beautiful. It's like dark blue. It's beautiful. So let's listen in. They want you to pursue peace. Listen in.
And in the fall of the year, when the leaves change colors, the forest can look spectacular. More important than this tranquil setting, though, is the abundant peace that Jehovah has given to his organization.
Well, would you say that Jehovah's Witnesses have abundant peace? I'm going to stop this brother Kenneth Cook here, right here, because Kenneth, I have to disagree with you. You know, you guys are always saying that, peace comes to the Jehovah's Witnesses and comes down through Jehovah God, through the governing body to the congregations. There's very little peace in the Jehovah's Witness organization. And I'm going to be getting to my point here very shortly, but let's continue and listen.
We can say this because of the peace and harmony that unite us, no matter what our nationality, language, race, tribe, or social background is. This is truly spectacular, especially when we consider all the turmoil in the world and how divided people are politically, socially, and religiously. However,
I'm going to slide up a little bit here. I want to come up to section 2950. All right, I'm going to come up to 3111. Let me just slide up to 3111. Just give me a couple of seconds here. 3111. Let's start right here. I want you to hear this in how the Jehovah's Witness organization is trying to have you show love and peace in your family. Listen in.
Love for God's word lead to genuine peace. This year's dramatic Bible reading is based on the life of Jacob. And as you will see, Jacob gives us an excellent example as to how we can pursue the things making for peace. Thereafter, we'll have the talk. The result of true righteousness will be peace. And we'll see in that talk how we can resist temptation.
All right, we're just going to slide up a little bit more. I want you to hear this last part here. This is very fascinating because it's talking here about it's talking about pursuing peace in your family and showing it to your family members. I mean, I don't think they do that. I know they don't do it. You know it too. But let's take a look here. Let's start here. 3531. Let's come up a little bit here. Let's come up. It's very hard sliding on this computer. So let's try this. Let's start right here.
Intriguing talk. Do not be misled by imitation peace. It will contrast the world's so-called peace with a genuine peace that Jesus will give his followers.
Oh,
But then day 2,
Do you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Hi. Who's this?
Hi. Hi, it's Annie from Montreal.
Oh, yes, Annie. What do you think? I mean, you're listening to this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I would have to go on a long diatribe if I told you everything that's going through my head right now. What it really actually made me think of, I don't know, is, you know, when Jesus was tempted by the devil, and, you know, the devil showed him all the beautiful things and to tempt him. And that's what it makes me think of for some reason. They're trying to, how would you say, you know, make the JWs, you know, to show them all these things and how wonderful it would be. Like, I don't know. That's what came to my mind right now. Just, you know, trying to charm them, you know, with all the things they have to offer, you know, the beautiful place and the beautiful words. And so that's just what I thought. And yeah, it's all fake, really, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I think because they're worried about people leaving and waking up, so they have to try and seduce them with all their what they have to offer. You know, that's my take on it anyway.
Well, that's a good take, Annie. I certainly say that's for sure. I mean, it's really disgusting when you listen to it because it kind of brings back memories. That's all they ever do is tell you how wonderful it is to be a Jehovah's Witness. And if you're a witness, all things are going to be great for you. You're going to receive peace. You'll have peace. But here's the clincher. Here's the last little clip I want to play. So the brother is talking here about the Good Samaritan. All right. Remember the Good Samaritan that stopped and the Jewish man that was supposedly hated by the Samaritans. And the Good Samaritan stopped and he helped the injured Jewish man, brought him to an inn, brought him food, took care of him. And so they're using this example. You'll hear it in the clip in showing how really you have to show peace to your neighbors. But here's the thing. I wanted to see what he said. Who are your neighbors that you have to show peace to? You know, because when I think of neighbors, I think of people around you, but it's other people too. It's family members and what have you. But listen to what he says, and then I want to make a comment because after listening to this, I can just say, man, these guys are filled with nothing but rhetoric and soft going, softball. Everything is great and wonderful. Listen to him.
Directed to you and to me. Go and do the same yourself. Yes, our neighbors include not only our family members and our Christian brothers and sisters, but all whom we encounter from day to day. In other words, our love extends to those who are not of our own race, tribe, nationality, or religion.
Hold on there, brother. Hold on 1 second. So here he is saying that they have to show love to everybody, not of the same race, not of the same religion. Are you kidding me? Do Jehovah's Witnesses show love to people not of the same religion? Well, what do they speak of everybody being that's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses? They're worldly. This is nothing more than a hate group. Can you imagine a religious organization that professes to be Christian, but commits some of the most heinous hate crimes in the world? Do you know of any other religion that does that? Well, I do. It'd be Islam, right?
I do too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so the leaders of the watch. Yeah, go ahead, Annie.
Sorry, I also wanted to say it. It's kind of interesting. Maybe you've seen that too, the pictures, you know, where the homeless, they're sitting there, they're begging, well, not begging, they're hoping to find somebody to give them something to eat or some money. And the Jehovah's Witnesses just stand there with their magazines, like, or at least I've seen pictures like that. And I was thinking with the $8 and something they're asking for the people now, well, why not say, well, we should give some of that money to the homeless or other needy people instead of trying to get it from everybody else. That was just a thought I had to.
Well, that's a good thought. Those are sensible thoughts. Now, when you stop,
May I make a comment?
Hello, Rick.
we have one person for. I'm sorry, hold on, brother. We have the person before you. Go ahead.
May I make a comment? I have two comments, Rick, about the Good Samaritan. They truly misapply that, and of course, you added that they're just really blowing smoke. But here's the deal. I was at work today, and we started the campaign we put boxes in the hospital in a lot of the waiting rooms, and hospital employees, people can donate school items for kids that need assistance, providing them pencils, but anyway, school supplies. And so that's what we do every year. Now, if you were an elder, and I know you were an elder, Rick, let me ask you a question. If you were in an elder's meeting and you made the suggestion to the congregation elders, hey, school's going to be coming up. We want to help people in our community, the young kids, because a lot of kids, they're struggling, their families are struggling. Can we put a couple boxes in the atrium of the Kingdom Hall, and the friends can provide not only for the children in the congregation, but for the children in our community? What would the elders say, Rick?
Well, no, that's something they don't do.
Okay, so they are not Good Samaritans. They could throw that in the convention. The second point I want to make, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this. Stephen Lett was talking about peace. If you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses for many years, they recycle conventions. I want to share an experience, real quick experience. I was a young boy when we went to Kansas City, Missouri for an international convention, and the theme was something along the lines of peace. Well, we were one of those families that just couldn't get into the stadium because it was jam-packed. We're talking the late 60s. And, of course, France was there, Crazy Freddie France and Nathan Noor, so it was packed. And I remember we were in this hot tent, and the speakers were really loud, and I started acting up because as a little boy, the heat, the time, the conventions lasted till 7 o'clock at night. It was just too much for me, and I started acting up. I do remember the convention thing was something about peace. Well, my mom's husband took me out to the parking lot. He made sure there were no attendants around, and he gave me, I call it the Fort Benning chokehold. He was ex-military, and he was choking me out. And he was ready to punch me, and this is what he told me, and I won't say the whole thing. He said, if you don't keep your mouth shut, you am... a few other words.
Terrible. Yeah.
I'm going to punch your face in. And you know what? That was peace in my family. That is real life Watchtower. That's what the Watchtower doesn't want to show on a video. They want to show these videos of these families having these little discussions, but they don't want to show the domestic violence and the violence where kids were beat to a pulp. And he had punched me several times before. I was waiting for the punch. He just didn't pull through. So, you know what? They could talk about peace and recycle it 10 years from now. If our Lord and Master doesn't come, 10 years from now, they'll have another peace-like convention. I guarantee it, because they recycle this garbage every 10 years.
Amen to that. They do it, Joe. They do it. I'm with you. Good man. Good comment. Thank you.
Rick, was that the Peace on Earth convention?
Yeah, well,
that
that no. This is the Pursue Peace Convention for 2022.
Oh.
They did this. This is the convention.
Oh,
Yeah, well, there was a piece.
When he was a little.
Go ahead.
When he was talking about when he was a little boy, he said it was something about peace, and I'm thinking in '69, wasn't there a Peace on Earth convention?
Yes, there was. He might be referring to that one. Yeah, but they're always pushing peace.
Wow.
This is the most peaceful organization on the planet. Jeez, I mean, we all should know that, right? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Anne Marie. I think we had another brother in there too. Go ahead, brother. Did you want to say something? All right. Yeah, we got a lot of people calling in tonight. So don't be a stranger. Do it yourself. I'm just going to play this last little clip from this brother. I didn't get a chance to play it all, but let's play it now. Let me share it and play it.
How do we show that love? Please turn with me to Romans chapter 13. Because we love our neighbor, we avoid conduct that disrupts peace. Instead, we strive to apply the inspired counsel at Romans chapter 13, verses 8 through 10. Do not owe anything to anyone except to love one another. For whoever loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law. For the law code, you must not commit adultery, you must not murder, you must not steal, you must not covet, and whatever other commandment there is summed up in this saying, you must love your neighbor as yourself.
Well, we know they don't. We know they don't. And how disgusting it is that they can come on and lie through their teeth. And just stop and think about this for a second. The leaders of the Watchtower, they masterfully paint a flawless Christian reputation. Oh, we're the only true Christians. And they do it. And people who are witnesses believe they're the only true Christians on the planet. That's why he's reading the Bible and giving these scriptures, that one from Romans. So their believers believe they're the only ones that are showing love, and they're glazing the surface over to conceal their deep-rooted hatred. Yeah. They strictly enforce policies, and you guys know what I'm talking about, and they will deny all loyal members from any association with those who have left the so-called truth, including family members and lifetime friends. Those, according to this brother that gave that talk, their neighbors. So just shun them. Have nothing to do with them. And I guess that's showing love, Watchtower style. Oh, it's so disgusting when I think about it, isn't it? I mean, how can they, have these conventions and the witnesses are clapping and they love every second of it when they are so doggone wrong in their teachings? You want to say something? Go ahead. You're on with us. You're on JW World News. You want to say something? Go ahead. Now's the time to do it.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Stern.
Let's go with the sister first. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Rick, it's Constance. I was going to say, it's nothing more than just a marketing tool for the product, which is the Watchtower as their so-called religion. That's all it is. I mean, they have everybody sort of mesmerized with regards to their words, the music, just a total indoctrination, coming to the convention. I mean, who in the world wouldn't want peace in the world? Who wouldn't want brotherly love with all nationalities and races and people coming together? I mean, that's really a beautiful thought. It's a utopia. And Watchtower uses that utopia, as a marketing tool. And I think many of us were really lured into that. I know I sure was. I still love those thoughts and that kind of concept in my world today. But the thing is, with Watchtower, if you've been in it long enough, you can see that it's all delusional. It's not true. It's all very, very hypocritical. And they use it, Rick, as a marketing tool. So, Yeah, it's very difficult for myself. I've been out so many years, and you hear some of these GBs talk. My God, it's like, what in the heck are they smoking? Rick. I mean, can they talk any slower? It puts you just to sleep. So, anyway, thank you, Rick.
Well, good comment, Constance. And these guys are so out of it. Here they are. They come across, and their audience, of course, is Jehovah's Witnesses, and really telling them how they are so pleased to be in such a peaceful organization. Well, what about all the families that are torn apart because of the husband getting disfellowshipped or the wife? I know personal families that's happened to. And how about the children being displaced? Families get torn apart. They don't think about the poor kids when they disfellowship a mother or a father. And what about all the sexual abuse that they're covering up? Oh, that's peaceful, huh? But you don't hear that. Boy, I'll tell you, they are slick. They are slick, and they are clever, and they hide all of this. And the witnesses, even when they hear it, they don't believe the organization could do this. I'll go ahead. You're on with us.
Yeah, Mr. Farron?
Yes, Ken.
Hello?
Ken, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We remember how, and you people know it better than I do, but I did experience it. They expressed their hatred for other churches. They expressed their hatred for clergymen. They expressed their hatred for other church members and all that, and they talk about it all the time. They express their hatred for people that's been put out. That just to mention a few, in addition to what you've mentioned already, which I'm not going to go into. I'm willing to conclude that they don't know what peace is. I mean, somebody please, tell me, how can they say that this kind of stuff is peaceful? That's it's something that's beyond my understanding. So, well, we'll take the next caller.
Well, thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Rick, hi, how are you?
Good. Who's this?
Good. Andrew from Chicago.
Andrew from Chicago. Thank you for calling in, Andrew.
Yeah,
good to hear from you.
Yeah, same here. One thing where many people get confused and the witnesses, get brainwashed is, well, witnesses don't go to war. We don't go to war, so they make a big deal about that. But what about, just like you mentioned, they are violent in the worst way than physical, like mental, emotional, psychological, by losing your family, by being shunned. If you ask 100 random people, what do you think is worse, for somebody to beat you up physically or to have somebody take away your family, for your parents, your siblings, to shun you? What is worse? I guarantee you that all of them will say that it's the mental, emotional anguish of losing your family. So they are violent. They are not peaceful. Just because they physically don't beat people up or go to war, that does not mean that they're peaceful people. And that's where many witnesses and even people in the territory get confused. But they don't see the deep things of this organization.
Oh, that's a good comment, Andrew. That's a good comment. Are you new now? This is your first call, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I really enjoy your show, and you're doing an incredible job. And thank you very, very much.
Well, Andrew, you're a good man. Now, don't you be a stranger. You come back and see us. Thank you.
I sure will. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Rick?
Yep.
Yep, Rick, it's Dick.
Hold on, Dick. Dick, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
We have someone that's trying to come in here. Go ahead, sir. Come in. There was another.
This is Juan. You hear me?
We're having a hard time with your phone, sir. Go ahead and speak up. See if we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Juan.
Juan, yes.
Juan Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, listen, look, I live in the same complex as my supposed witness sister. She's in apartment 15F. I'm in apartment 15G. Can you believe it? Same floor, same building. Doesn't speak to me.
Why did
I don't want to do it. I beg your pardon?
I'm going to try to get a little better connection here, Juan. Are you close to are you close to your phone? I want to make sure our audience can hear you. Are you close to your phone?
Yeah, I am now. How
Okay.
about now?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, listen. My neighbor lives in apartment 15F. I live in apartment 15G. Can you believe it? Doesn't talk to me.
sometime out of hypocrisy, they run into me in the hallway. I'm going to throw out the garbage. Say hello, briefly go back into their apartment. The hypocrisy of love thy neighbor. First of all, I haven't been disfellowship, and I've never been reproved. There's no reason for her to shun me, other than the fact that I told her I no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness because it's a cult. And now she won't speak to me. Yet she has friendship with her ex-husband, who is disfellowship.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, I mean, neighborly love. I mean, they're supposed to show love to the neighbor one, but you're not getting it.
We live right next door to each other. Our doorknobs almost practically touch each other,
My goodness. So, hey, Juan, that's a terrible story, man. That's going to be lousy living like that. So every time you see her, she just walks right by you, right?
No, she might say hi, but it's hypocritical. It don't mean it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Juan, I feel bad for you.
Her husband who's disfellowship, he's disfellowship. She has association with him.
Yeah.
Well, her ex-husband, because they're divorced now.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy. The whole witnesses, the ones that are active. I'm talking about the ones that are active. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet.
Well, you're right. Do they have peace? Do you say the Jehovah's Witnesses have peace? What do you think, Juan?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She don't,
Yeah.
And it's funny because when the COVID thing started, there's 3 witnesses in the building. I went to every witness and I knocked on the door to make sure that they were all right. Right? None of them has one time came to my house, and we live in the same damn building, to check up on me to see how I may be making out. So much for brotherly love, huh?
Oh, I'm with you, Juan. I mean, I'm really, you're the star of the show here tonight. I mean, people, they're getting it right from the horse's mouth. There's no love for neighbor. There you go. I mean, what can we say?
Anyway, thanks. I love your show.
Have you ever?
I just wanted to share that because
it's just
you showed that clip. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is this the first time you called in?
No, it's my second time calling in.
Oh, yeah, no, because I remember your voice. Well, thank you, Juan. Now, listen, you hang in there. Don't let that neighbor discourage you. Thank you.
No. I just treat them like they were never born.
All right. Well, you just work that out with them because, they're hard to deal with. Thank you. Dick, I think you're next. Go ahead, Dick.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you. To the point of the caller that called just before 1, and he said that Jehovah's Witnesses don't go to war and all that. Well, they did in World War I, and I think Rutherford made some changes that said you couldn't go into the military. But early Jehovah's Witnesses, they served in the military and was actually encouraged to serve your country and during World War I. So if anyone believes that the Watchtower is guided by our Heavenly Father's Holy Spirit, they should do a deep dive into the history of Jehovah's Witnesses. And what I would recommend is a very easy book to get a hold of. It's called Index of Watchtower Errors by David Reed. Great book, costs you a couple of bucks, and you could see all the changes they made. And if God was directing that organization, there wouldn't be any changes in philosophy or doctrine. It's a fraud. Thanks, Rick.
Hey, it is a fraud, Dick. You're absolutely right. Well, that is fantastic. I mean, a lot of people coming in tonight, and we're all on the same page, right? My goodness, we all know that. Yes.
I want to thank Warren for coming on. I could tell he was very upset once he got going. The hurt and, at the indignity of being treated so badly by someone who is so stuck up in their arrogant self-righteousness, the hypocrisy, as he said. They are the biggest hypocrites on this planet, and I agree with what Warren said, and I really appreciate, Rick, that you were very patient with not being able to hear him because you gave him the opportunity to be heard, because the hurt, it was so evident. And it's just like he said, they don't understand real peace. They have fake peace just like they have fake love and fake friendship, because when push comes to shove, they are not really human, because it's not normal the way they behave. And Dick brought out a good point. Yes, Russell did at one point kind of encourage witnesses, of course they were called Bible students, to go to war and support your country. And I remember that. I remember reading about it. But here's the good thing. It was up to the person's conscience. It wasn't an enforced, you have to or you can't or else. And that's the rotten thing that Rutherford did. He took over everybody's right to think, and he took over their right to their own conscience. Thank you so much, Rick.
Well, you got it right. You're nailing it, Anne Marie. And it's so fascinating that we can do this every Saturday night. And you think after a while, you just say, well, just cut these guys some slack. But I don't have a soft spot from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet for this organization, especially when I catch them in so many lies. Jeez, they're pushing so much corruption on people. It's pathetic. Well, I'm glad you're in here tonight. I guess we can move to the next story. Yes, go ahead.
This is Constance again. I just wanted to add one other thought, Rick, if I might.
Of course.
I was talking to my, thank you, dear. I was talking to my former client, and, she's a friend, she's a PMO. And, she was talking about one of the biggest issues she has with regards to Watchtower is the shunning, with if someone has been disfellowshipped or disassociated. And we were talking about that extensively this week. What's so interesting about it is, for many of us back in the 70s, maybe even the 60s, I don't know, I wasn't in the organization in the 60s, but the 70s and early 80s I was. And the Truth Book was the book that, was like the number one Bible study that many people had studied in order to get baptized and become a witness. Well, Rick, that book, as much as I read it and as thoroughly as I read it, there was no word in there whatsoever about being disfellowshipped or disassociated at all. Okay. And I remember after I got baptized, I was on a Bible study with an anointed sister in the congregation. And she was talking to her Bible study, and, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden she brought up the topic of being disfellowshipped. And I thought, what in the heck is she talking about? And so anyway, I just felt, I guess my point I'm trying to say, Rick, is I just felt very betrayed. I felt very bamboozled, like, oh my gosh, now I'm baptized, and now I find out about this disfellowshipping. So my point is that I think Watchtower always tries to have this illusion that, we're just the most utopian brotherly love organization with so much peace and security and happy family life and, yada, yada, yada. But when you're really in there and you find out how disgusting and hypocritical and unloving and unchristian it is, I mean, Rick, looking back, had I known about people being disfellowshipped or disassociated and how they were treated, I would have never gotten baptized. I would never have gotten baptized. I mean, there's nothing loving at all. Everybody makes mistakes. There's no doubt about it. But, they have to act like they're so self-righteous. And look at how many lives and families have been destroyed just on the issue of shunning. And it's nothing more than a man-made organization that has a man-made policy. That's all it is. It is not even scriptural. But anyway, that's just what I really wanted to say, Rick. So thank you very much.
Well, you're spot on.
Rick,
you're spot on.
I have to comment.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So as an elder, I went over a lot of the questions in the organization book. I don't know what they use now. I mean, I've been out for 10 years. But that they really didn't stress disfellowshipping. Could you imagine if at the beginning, when an elder talks to the candidate that's going to be baptized, if he right up and straight up tells him, look, here are the consequences for questioning the governing body, the organization, any disloyalty or any serious sin, you could be disfellowshipped. You could be cut off from your friends, your tribe, the organization. But you know what? If you go through those questions, and I'm going through the old organization book, it's not in there. It is not in there. They kind of like just pass by it, and it's kind of real superficial. So people that get baptized don't sometimes realize the intense consequences. And so Connie's right.
Well, thank you for reiterating that, because that is right. I mean, when I was baptized, I don't remember them telling me that, if you ever get kicked out of this organization, that no one's going to talk to you. I don't remember anything like that, Joe. And they do deliberately leave it out. And if people do, I mean, right on their website, I'm not sure it's still there, but a few years ago, I wanted to see what they had to say about shunning. So someone asked them a question on their website: do Jehovah's Witnesses shun? And they said, well, we don't shun, but we avoid. Well, I mean, isn't that the same? But see, they play the game with semantics. They change the term. Yes, they shun, and they shun big time, badly. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, there you have it.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Rick, it's Gilbert again, and love your show. And hey, I wanted to just say what I've been having a lot of good results with helping other people when I talk to them and they email me, because of my YouTube channel. I tell them, and in my videos, a lot of times I put up the screenshot where it says, where I quote myself: God, accept your birthright. God is your father and you're his son. Don't let anybody get between you and your father. You see, what happens is Jehovah's Witnesses, that's how they get you. Because, Rick, you're my brother, and it's real simple.
Whoop. I'm sorry, Gilbert. I think we lost you for a second. Can you come back? You're on now. Gilbert? Well, I'm not sure what happened to Gilbert, but we'll get him back on.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Jeff. We'll get Gilbert back on with us. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could honestly say that with my own self-experience with studying and going out in service without being baptized, they'll treat you like somebody that was baptized at times, especially when they say or they think you know the truth and you'll die at Armageddon. And that was my experience. And they'll treat you like you were baptized. They have no disillusion on that, because it's very true. I experienced it. But that's my comment anyway.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I always appreciate you calling in. I always appreciate it. If Gilbert's out there, somehow, Gilbert, we got disconnected or something, but call us back in. I'd love to hear from you. Always good to hear from you. So call us back in and we'll be able to discuss what you had on your mind. But anyways, my goodness gracious, we're getting through it. We got a big night of programming tonight. Stay with us. We go all night long, basically. We've got a number of programs coming up after this one. So by all means, stay with us. Are you back on with us, Gilbert? Somehow you not good. We missed you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah. So when I do my videos, I tell people, accept your birthright. God is your father. You're his son. And see, what happens is real simple. Watchtower does it. The Jews, the Mormons, everybody. They make you think that God loves you more because you're part of his organization. But it's like Alcoholics Anonymous. I raise up my hand and I say, "Hi, my name is Gilbert Gonzalez. I have sinned. I actually believe that God loved me more as a Jehovah's Witness than he loved you as a Catholic. I come clean. I admit that God loves us all." And so a lot of times people get upset and they say, "Well, stop using the word brother and sister." No, it's beautiful, because in America, that's what we do. We call each other brothers and sisters, because nobody is above us. You see, Rick, if you're my brother and I'm your brother, I will never want to have a position of authority over you, because you're my equal. That's the beautiful thing about accepting the birthright. Whereas Jehovah's Witnesses want you to wait 1,000 years to become God's son. No, do it today and stop trying to think that God loves you more than somebody else. And that's exactly how they get the Jehovah's Witnesses. They fall into that trap that God loves his people more than he loves the Catholics or any pick, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Amen, Gilbert.
Hello?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Gilbert. We had a woman and we had a man. So let's go with the woman first.
Hi, Rick. This is Mary. I just wanted to contribute here. I'm kind of short of breath because I'm just recovering from this new COVID strain. I sound bad, but I'm really doing well. So anyways, I started studying with the Witnesses starting at age 19. I was living on my own in my own place that I purchased. At age 19, started working when I was 16 to help support my mom who was disabled. My father was military with PTSD. And so our family was very disconnected. My parents died very young. I was left with basically zero family that I was connected to after the whole ordeal because we traveled during my upbringing and we were disconnected from biological family, which I am going to be looking into when I retire. I will go find my blood relatives. But for now, it's just me, my husband, and some relatives that I talk to from distant miles, some in Europe. Anyways, I always longed for family. I was an extremely independent young lady. I had just exited a cult called the Church of Christ, where I thought they were my family. And because I always longed to have family, I had an inner strength and always had a belief in God growing up, despite my parents' lack of belief. I always felt like I had the light. And I always knew there was God, and God was always with me. And this is before I actually started going to church. But anyways, I grew up where your immediate family was the person on the bus next to you. You had your duffel bag. You are going to the next military base. That will be your new family. You go in and like everybody in that world treated each other like family. Very little bullying on base, very little. And if there was, you just kind of didn't snitch and you took your lumps and you just moved forward. And so I grew up where you love your neighbor because you have to. That is your family. And so it was instilled in me to love my neighbors. And so I was extremely independent. And when I became a single mom, it was because my husband was cheating with women at the church. He was a narcissist. And he was much older than me, had been out of the military, and just honed in on my kindness. So we ended up getting divorced because of his unfaithfulness. And he was also sleeping with the retired elderly pastor who was married across the street from me when I went to work. So when I left that cult because they took all my money, there was years in between where I just wouldn't go to church at all. And this is where I met my brother, a Jehovah's Witness, who had a similar upbringing as me, but he was 20 years my senior, a very nice man. And he was studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses at the same time that I was still going to the Church of Christ. And so I went in, and this is when my cult at the time, they do the same tactics as the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're quite similar. So anyways, he pulled out this book of Revelation, and boy, it immediately made me think this man knew much more, and there was much more that I wasn't learning from the cult I was in. And every time I went to see him, he was I traveled for work, so he was at one of my accounts, and he was what you call the receiver. He received goods, and he was very good at what he did, and a very professional at that, and a very kind-hearted man. And so that's where I started getting hooked on the Jehovah's Witnesses. I then met my husband around that time. I met him, my Jehovah's Witness friend, before I ever met my husband. This man took me under his wings. I mean, I'm Caucasian, white, whatever, Heinz 57, and he's very black. So anyways, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I just felt so appreciative. And I thought, here, this man, he's not going to want anything from me. He seems to be loving and kind. And he basically loved bombed me, but it was from a genuine place. And still to this day, this man is shunning me. And I'm like 32 years old. This man was my family. And at one point, the only family I ever had. And he went to my college graduation. This is before I got baptized 20 years later and everything. And the reason why this is hitting home so hard is if anybody is listening who has been met at the door by these witnesses who you think that you're going to gain something or a family or a big united worldwide family because you're missing your family. Maybe your family died in a car accident. Maybe you were like my military family where they all just kind of died young and dispersed and everything. Just think twice, because the thing that they never, ever told me before I got baptized, and it took 20 years of red flags to get me in, was that I would be completely shunned, not for not going to the meetings, because I developed a severe gut intestinal issue where I couldn't get off the toilet to even make it to a meeting. But they basically shunned me when I started just asking a few questions after my baptism. And also I kept asking them, when can my husband meet the circuit overseer? They would play these little fishy games with me after I got baptized. They would call me over to their house at any hour and made me feel like there was something I was doing wrong. And all I wanted to do was please them. And when I figured out that all the years that I have been love bombed, and basically I call it love bombing, because when you're in the congregation, they have a duty to at least pretend that they love you. There is a thing that is done, but it's not written about, that you will never know until you get deeply involved with these people and make that final commitment. You are marked. Even as an unbaptized publisher, you are treated
Hey, Mary,
differently.
this is Rick here at the Six Screens.
Yeah.
You know, I want to hear your whole story, and I wish we had
Yeah.
more time to hear it.
No problem.
You know, I got headlines I'm trying to deal with here, but you know, why can't we make arrangements for you to come on and tell your whole story? Can you? Are you around?
Oh,
later?
yeah.
Are you on later on tonight or what?
I might be. I don't normally speak up. Rick, I do appreciate you. Look, can I just say,
Yeah,
give
go ahead.
me
Yeah, take two.
20,
Take 2
let me-
minutes. Take 2
let me-
minutes and go ahead.
let
Yeah.
let me just wrap it up and outline it, because I agree with you, Rick. I do need to stop. I do. What I'm trying to say is that they will rip you from the core. I spent many years with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I didn't get baptized until 20 years after, and that's when everything broke free, where everybody could then solicit it was so bizarre how I got treated after my baptism. So there is, like I said, there is a difference between when you're a householder and they're counting their hours. So what I didn't know was they were counting their hours, all the hundreds and thousands of hours my friend witness talked to me when I was 19. He was counting his hours. There was no real love there. He was compelled. So yeah, look, I'm deeply hurt that I made so many friends and connections, including an anointed one in there. I got real close to them, and until to this day, there's a lot of pain and suffering involved with those that have to shun me. And I know they see me around town, and their hearts are breaking for me. They think I'm going to die in Armageddon, and it's so sad. How can I get to you guys? If you're listening, how do I get to you that I'm not going to die in Armageddon? I love God. I love Jesus. So anyways, Rick, yeah, and I'm okay. They don't even know that I'm okay. It's their egos. And the gentleman that just spoke up and said that it is appealing to the witnesses to judge others. It is, and that's what made me not want to go and made me sick, because it was egotistical. I was not raised that way, and I felt like I was judging others just by proxy, by being there, and that's what caused the intestinal issue that almost led to a very severe health crisis from going to the meetings. I'm known as Diarrhea Mary on this show from, oh my goodness, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, talking to Johnny. I was on the toilet my first session that I talked to Rick Farron. I really thought that I was going to die in Armageddon when I was sitting on that toilet. And anyways, look, anybody who's studying with you guys, studying with the witnesses, please take a step back, breathe, help them. Don't get involved with them, but you can help them by loving them back the real way Jesus loved people. Oh, thank you for letting me talk. God bless everybody.
Well, thank you, Mary. You might even like our next story coming up because it deals with intestinal disorders. It really does. So you might like that. So you hang in here with us, okay?
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's Mary. That's diarrhea Mary. I mean, she's been on before, and man, they wiped her stomach out. So anyways, I wanted to tell you that this week, doing this program for 16 years, the biggest story this week by far, I go on the post, I search the internet trying to find the biggest story for the week that went on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. And yes, this is it. I found at least 25, 30 posts on the house-to-house preaching. It's going to resume on September 1st, 2022. Oh, yes, the door-to-door ministry is coming back. And boy, I have to tell you, in one word, there was a post today online. In one word, how would you describe the house-to-house ministry? In one word: horrifying, soul-destroying, pointless, asinine, humiliating, unnatural, slavery, exhausting, depressing, torture. And then the words go on and on and on. Yes, nobody likes the idea of having to go back to the meetings. But the branch office sent a letter out. The governing body is pleased to announce that the house-to-house preaching work of Jehovah's Witnesses, it will resume September 1st, 2022, and we pray for Jehovah's rich blessings to be with all of you as we resume our house-to-house ministry. Wow. I mean, it's making witnesses sick, and you just heard from Mary and the stomach problems she had. So the governing body is doing a great big favor to possibly millions of Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, the members have forgotten that taste of freedom, and many are not giving that freedom away ever again. Many Jehovah's Witnesses friends are going to leave the organization because of this. And there's one person on a post today I read on Reddit. It said that they have a number of Jehovah's Witness cousins, nephews, nieces, granddaughters, grandsons, and extended in-laws who are hardcore Jehovah's Witnesses, some elders and some pioneers. And this person posted, as of my last count this morning, 31 of them decided to quit after the announcement of going back door to door. So there you go. In talking to them, they spoke about disgust, fear, embarrassment. They don't want to go door to door anymore for the Watchtower. They would rather quit and face the consequences than to go back to the door-to-door preaching work. Boy, what drudgery, huh? Well, so that's what we have. So they're going to be continuing the door-to-door work. And boy, the governing body is hoping that it's all going to work. But I'm thinking it's going to backfire. I'm going to leave. I'm thinking it's backfire. Why would Jehovah's Witnesses want to leave the comfort of their own homes, as they have experienced in the last couple of years because of COVID pandemic? Why would they want to leave the comfort of their own homes and go out in miserable weather, whether it be hot or it be cold, and get doors slammed in their face if writing letters was just as good? And yes, they were just as good. Didn't we have Hendricks, Robert Hendricks, the official for the Watchtower? Didn't he say that, wow, even though we're not going door to door, we're getting more recruits now by our new form of witnessing? So it's triggering the return of many illness, sicknesses. Many witnesses, actually, they're getting sick, just like you heard from Diarrhea Mary. Yeah, it's causing anxiety. It's causing depression, tension, headaches, stomach cramps, diarrhea. excessive yawning, excessive gas, wanting to sleep more, wanting to drink more alcohol, and many more things. These are signs that your body is telling you it doesn't want you to do it. Yeah. And many witnesses right now are experiencing all of these symptoms. It's a cry for help. And these activities, presuming or resuming, I should say, of going back into the ministry, it's not healthy for you. It's not healthier. You see, prior to COVID, Jehovah's Witnesses were busy going door to door, and they were able to hang in there and do it. And they never really got a relief from it, but COVID gave them a relief. And once they got the relief, they got thinking about it. So I'm saying here tonight that this is going to cause monumental issues in the Jehovah's Witness organization. And you're going to see many that are going to throw the towel in. So, yeah, they're hoping that
Hey,
a new.
Rick?
Yes.
Did they say if they were going to wear masks or not?
Well, that's interesting you say it, Susan. They did not mention it.
Because I'm just wondering if they go door to door and someone at the door gets COVID, they're open to lawsuits. I mean, have they considered that?
Well, these are some of the things they're considering, I think. I mean, but the governing body isn't mentioning it. But the witnesses in some of the posts I've been seeing online, that's what they're concerned with, is them catching COVID and going out and perhaps giving COVID to the householder. So they're hoping that there'll be a new plague, maybe this long-term COVID that they're calling it, or maybe even the monkeypox. They're hoping something like that will break out at Bethel. But if something breaks out at Bethel, I think they could call it pillow pox. I found that fascinating. So it's giving many witnesses anxiety. I mean, big time anxiety, just thinking about it. Man, I'm not even a witness anymore. And I'm thinking about it and I'm having panic attacks, basically. I'm saying, man, that is, I'm looking back and saying, that was terrible going door to door. So many Jehovah's Witnesses are wondering about going door to door because there's strangers and there's various variants of COVID right now. So there's no word whether they should wear masks or not, as Susan just was asking, but they do have to wear masks doing the cart work. So I'm thinking they may have to wear masks, but can you imagine walking through the neighborhood with a mask on and going door to door? Who in their right mind is going to open the door to a couple of witnesses with masks on? It's not going to happen. So there we have it. I mean, I'm thinking, remember we talked about here a number of times about Jehovah's Witness governing body saying, listen to us, even if it doesn't make sense from a human standpoint. Well, I think we're not to that point. That's not making sense. Many of the witnesses are saying, geez, COVID hasn't even died down yet. We just heard from Mary. She said she had COVID. She probably still has it. I had a witness man write to me not a witness man, but an ex-witness man write to me last night. He's in the hospital. He sent me a picture. He's got long-term COVID or whatever they call it. So, I'm just thinking here, are they jumping the gun? Are they jumping the gun? I'm not sure, but I know one thing. They're not, as I speak, the Bethel tours, when you tour Bethel, they eliminated, they haven't been able to go there for 2 years. But now that I do understand, the person did send me information today that Bethel is now going to be open September 1st. So I go with what he says. They're going to have to do that. If you're going to send the witnesses out door to door September 1st, you got to set the Bethelites, you got to have tours to Bethel as well. So we have got an unusual situation going on. And, now that, a lot of doorbells, now this wasn't always the way when I was a witness, but, they have some pretty high-tech doorbells today, right? They've got the Ring device. They got cameras on the doorbell. They can see the witnesses coming. Geez, they're going to see you coming a mile away. Who's going to open the door? It is going to be one of the worst ministries ever, going door to door as Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, not only that, the householders for the last couple of years have been subject to seeing all of these programs highlighting and exposing the child sex abuse cover-ups. They've had a number of programs on TV, so a lot of people, householders, have seen these programs. So, they're going to be coming to the door. It's going to be very creepy and very disturbing to many people when they see this happening, because they now know who the Jehovah's Witnesses are. So that's just my thoughts on it. Boy, I'll tell you, I think this is really going to be a hailstorm for the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know if they're gonna get people to come and do this anymore. I wouldn't want to do it. And you might have a good excuse, but they want you to go. And you know what happens in the organization. Even if you said, well, my doctor said I can't be around people because I have a weakened immune system, or whatever excuse you'd give. But you know what the witnesses will do? They're going to look at you as being weak. You might even get soft shunned because you don't go out and field service. Well, those are just my thoughts, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Go ahead and let us know. *6. What do you think?
Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Joe again from Colorado.
Yes, Joe.
Going along with Mary, I remember in Colorado, because we have smaller towns and smaller communities where I live, we did a lot of rural territory. And back in the day, there were a lot of meth labs. And I remember I was with 3 pioneer sisters. This sister was a new pioneer, and she went to the door with another sister, and I did not know it was a meth lab. Later on, I would find out it was a meth lab, because after I was excommunicated, I became a deputy sheriff, and I knew the area. Well, he came out and pointed a shotgun at her head. I got out of the car. I told her to get back to the car, and that sister quit pioneering that day. And, now I understand why there are so many physical ailments. People, like you said, they don't want to go back to that. They don't want to go back knocking on doors in the heat or the cold. They don't want to follow this new directive of the slave, because they're in a comfort zone right now. So, I just wanted to relate that experience. That pioneer sister had a shotgun pointed at her head, and the guy was just protecting his meth lab. But that's the front lines that the governing body never wants to talk about.
Well, you're right with that. Absolutely, Joe. No, they don't want to talk about that at all, and they just assume that everyone's going to do it. But I started that story out with 31 people in one family, and they're all talking and saying, if we have to go back, we're not going, we quit. And, that is what's going to happen. And that's exactly, especially with young people today, too. Young people aren't like many of us old timers. Today, in today's society, we know what young people are doing. If they're not happy where they work, they quit. They will quit. I mean, this is the new generation. And it's the same thing with them, even with the Watchtower. They're not going to be happy going door to door. And a lot of these young ones are going to say, that's it. I don't have to answer these people. I'm not going door to door. Thank you, Joe. So there you go. My goodness. I tell you, I'm glad I'm out. I'm glad Satan kicked me out of that organization, because that is something, I don't know if I get a stomach ache over it, but I certainly wouldn't like it. It would be distressing. It would bother me mentally, I think. It really would, because what a waste of time. And even back in 2005, when I was disfellowshipped, geez, I was out huffing it, and I was leading the group and going into the neighborhoods, knocking on doors all over the place, and nobody was even answering. I can remember getting in the car group, and people would say, did you talk to anybody, Brother Farron? I'd say, well, not really. How about you guys? Did you talk with anybody? Well, nobody's opening the door. They're home but hiding. Remember that? HBH, home but hiding. We used to put that on the slips we used to keep records of. and most people were home but hiding. But I used to tell the group, just to try to build them up and add a little positivity to the conversation, I would say, well, brothers and sisters, even though we're not getting anybody to talk to us, aren't we building one another up? I mean, I was kind of going along with the Watchtower way of thinking then, but now they look back. No, we weren't building people up. We were just glad to get home, get out of there. So, hey, you're on JW World News, the Watchtower. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you again.
That's all right. That's all right.
I feel like the Watchtower kind of has to reinstate the door-to-door ministry because, the witnesses, I'm just thinking from their point of view, have probably become too comfortable with being in their own home. So many have posted on Reddit how they, just do what they want. They sign in and they show their face and then they go and do whatever they want to do. They've gotten way too comfortable. Watchtower wants to maintain or at least grab back the amount of control that they have been used to. They want to have the ministry go back to the way it was because it reinforces the indoctrination. There is no better way to reinforce one's programming than to teach the programming to someone else, or at least to be in a ministry where that's your job. Remember, they're not ministers. They are cult recruiters. And they need to get back into action. Even if what witnesses start waking up even faster, it's all about control, reinforcing their programming. They can't let this go on too far, just being on Zoom, because they'll never get them back. And they don't want anybody saying, well, wait a minute, maybe we're never going to go back. And they'll become more and more like the quote world. No, we got to get those people back in line. Thank you, Rick.
Well, it's going to be very interesting, Anne Marie, very interesting. Well, listen, folks, we got a full program coming up tonight. I'm going to end this program just a little early, but I'll be talking to a little bit. If you're on the radio network on the 6-screen suite, you'll hear it. But I've got to discontinue this on. We're going to end the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. But don't worry, we'll come right back on YouTube and Facebook in about 5 minutes. We have Jimmy Bell. He's coming in with his program, The Big Picture. Now, tonight, Jimmy's going to be talking about the Watchtower and how they're involved in the coming New World Order, the Great Reset, as some people are calling it. So why don't you join Jimmy tonight? And he'd love to hear from you as well. He's got a number of people coming on with him. So we're going to have a great program with Jimmy Bell coming up next, right here on the 6 Screens Tell the Network. But anyways, I'm going to end YouTube right now, and I'll talk with you guys a little bit as I'm getting things lined up. Or maybe if someone would like to come in and kind of control things for 5 minutes or so, like to come in and just talk a little bit about maybe some of the things we've been talking about tonight, be my guest. Would someone like to come in and do that?
I'll hang out with you for a while.
All right.
I'll hang out for a while. And anybody else who wants to hang out with me.
All right. There you go, Anne Marie. So I'm going to disconnect YouTube and Facebook.